Dealing with a breakup is going to be one of the most difficult things you're going to have to deal with. Not the most difficult thing, but one of the most difficult things. I have to say that because, people like to overthink things. But here is one of the biggest issues: people be in full blown relationships acting like they don't care about the relationship. But when the relationship finally ends, they feel lost, they feel alone. They end up going on the internet searching for how to deal with breakup videos on YouTube. Today, I actually want to discuss how to prevent a breakup. But if the breakup is coming and there's nothing you can do about it, it's inevitable, there's actually a proper way to deal with a breakup. Let's talk about it. If you're enjoying the video so far, make sure you hit that like button. It helps me out a lot. But first, we have to be honest with ourselves. Most of us let society dictate how we handle our relationships.
How do you talk to your significant other if you find out they've been cheating on you? My recommendation is you don't.
The number one sign that your girlfriend is probably cheating on you.
And let's talk about the internet again, because it does play a part. I'm sorry. Because there's so many videos floating around the internet where you see somebody literally cheating while they're on the phone with their significant other. You don't believe me?
Hello. What you doing? Oh, shit.
And after you see a video that we just watched where somebody is cheating while they're on the phone with their significant other, if you're on the phone with your partner and all of a sudden they take a long pause or you hear a funny sound, what you gonna think? After seeing one of those videos, you're gonna think that you're dealing with a cheater. It gets in your head. Just like when you watch a scary movie and you're in the house by yourself. You're fine with being in the house by yourself, but suddenly after you finish the movie, all of a sudden you hear weird noises and certain weird things start happening. That's not a coincidence. Same thing when you watch an action flick. All of a sudden your anxiety's through the roof and you don't even know why. People really underestimate the power of influence. So what are the effects of the outside influence? I'm glad you asked. No public affection. No reassurance telling your partner that you love them and you want nobody but them. No, that's for suckers, right? It makes absolutely no sense. You get in a relationship, you make it official, and then you be with this person and just harbor all of your feelings. Have I done this before? Yes. I definitely hurt a lot of good people and ruined a lot of good relationships by acting like I didn't care, by being nonchalant. But here's a good question. What if you're in a relationship with a good person? Hell, what if both the people in the relationship are great people? Two good people that are afraid of getting hurt. Two good people that are too afraid of being vulnerable because the outside world. And what happens is, instead of those two people showing their love in a controlled positive way, those two people show their love in an uncontrollably negative way. The toxic relationship. And it's safe to say, some of y'all be out here wilding, I can't lie. And I know that woman was probably crazy and tripping because of her emotions, but dudes be tripping too.
He just took everything apart, cut my belt, and cut every hose up. Everything.
Do you think he knew he was videotaping himself?
I don't think he did. He said he didn't do it.
Have you ever been in a toxic relationship? Put it in the comments. I would love to hear about it. Now, I think most toxic relationships happen when it's a younger couple, but yeah, it's more common with a younger couple, but it is grown adults doing crazy stuff like we just saw. And there's definitely levels to it because, yeah, damaging property is bad, but it could be worse. Some of these toxic relationships end in tragedy, where a life is lost, kids living without their parents, families bewildered, emotionally devastated with a loss for words. And the sad part is, this will continue until we start preaching mental self-defense. Nobody ever talks about mental self-defense. I'm gonna get to that in a second. But we are taught self-defense when we're in a young age. If you see a stranger trying to come at you, what you do? You run away. You get away from them because that's a negative person trying to enter your life, get into your little bubble. And we're taught self-defense as a kid. So by the time we're older, we're comfortable with protecting ourselves. But what happens when you end up falling in love with a stranger? The person you're supposed to run away from. You have no mental self-defense, so you let this person manipulate you, trick you into falling in love with them, just so you can do any and everything for them. And you really don't have no mental self-defense, so you can't even get yourself out the situation. I mean, you can, but it's gonna be a long, lonely road. Even after you figure out they're wrong for you, it's still gonna take a long time. Now, there are plenty of ways to work on your mental self-defense, like meditation. First off, separating yourself, because when you separate yourself, it's easy for you to see things for what they are. When you're in the box, it's hard to see, but outside looking in, you'll see a little bit more. And therapy, people talk about that all the time. Even if you don't think it's gonna work, at least give it a try. You never know. It might be the perfect thing for you. I decided to be a grown man and make grown man decisions. And I went to therapy. And that did not work. Hit the like button. Now, I have been talking a lot. I understand that. I apologize. But at first, I wanted to talk about how we prevent a breakup. Now, we're going to talk about how to properly get over a breakup. Now, I dealt with this many a times. I'm not an expert, but it's cool to hear somebody else's point of view because you'll see that you're not alone, okay? The first thing is, if the situation is over with, as far as the relationship, the last thing you want to do is think about the good times. Because that's the first thing we think about when we end a relationship. We think about all the good traits that the person had. Think about this, okay? Instead of thinking about all the good stuff, if they was all good, there would be no problems. Y'all would be having a healthy relationship. But you're trying to forget the negative stuff, okay? Don't forget the negative stuff. That's why you're in this predicament right now. The second thing is, this might go mostly for men. Nah, I ain't gonna say that. And women be thinking this too. The second thing is, if the only good thing about this person that you're breaking up with is strictly sexual, that's another reason why you should leave it alone. You don't even care about the person. You just like the intimacy. You like the sexual part, and you can get that from anybody. Yeah, they probably was the best you ever had so far, but you want everything about the person to be great, not just sexual. I don't know. And the third proper way to get over a relationship is don't get into another relationship or deal with another person in any type of way until you are fully over the last person. Because it's going to be an ongoing trend where you use this person to get over that person and use another person to get over the last person. It's just going to be an ongoing cycle, and it's not healthy. You need time to yourself, and you need to figure out who you are and figure out what went wrong. You know, take accountability if it was your fault or part of it, and really think about it. Because you can act like you're cool with the situation. You just want to live free and just mess with multiple people, but you don't want that will mess your head up. Before you get into, I'm going to say this again, before you get into another relationship, please take time to work on yourself, mental and physical, okay? Because what's going to happen is the more you work on yourself, the more you're going to want a person on your level, and you're not going to settle for anything less. Now, don't have your standards super high where it's like impossible, but you also don't want to settle for something super, super low below you because you're insecure, okay? And that insecurity is going to go away when you work on yourself. You know what I'm saying? Do not ever try to get back with your ex, okay? You are a different person now. Yeah, it was fun. Y'all had some good times, probably more bad times than good times, but you're a totally different person now, so it's not going to work. It's not going to work. Okay, to everybody that's want to say, oh, they got back with their ex, they ended up getting married happily ever after. Yes, there's a possibility it could work, but the chances of those possibilities is probably slim to none, okay? If you want to take that chance to get back with somebody that didn't work out before, and you think the second time is going to be better, even though y'all probably didn't even work on your problems back then, all right, man. And I'm passionate about not going back to your ex because 9 times out of 10, you're just probably too afraid to be uncomfortable and meet somebody else, so you want to go back to somebody you're comfortable with. Well, if you want to grow as a person, sometimes you have to be uncomfortable. You have to take chances. You'll never grow if you're always comfortable, right? When you take away the materialistic things, the man-made things, I know it's going to sound cliche, but life is about love. That's why after a breakup with somebody you love dearly, you can't eat, you can't sleep, you don't care about anything else but that person. You want to know why? Because it's about love. That's what we're here for. I sound like a hippie.